Doing the right thing in the wrong way will never work out. And this is something that I've been thinking about a lot, and especially while building a business, is that if you have a real passion and you have your heart in the business, but you are just following strategies, you are following advice from other people, it might be that you are doing the right thing in the wrong way. Because if you have internal resistance from the way you are doing things, you are building your funnels, you have your target audience, your ICP, all these things, it's like really important, and it still doesn't work out. You want to know why? It's because your heart and mind isn't aligned. And our mind really easily starts to come up with justifications and explanations on why we need to do this. Look at that really famous person, that successful person. He says that you need to do it like this. Well, is he doing it like this, or is it just the narrative he's pushing onto people to convince them to follow his ideas and not actually empower people to build their own things in their own way? Yes, you should study psychology and understand how attention works and stuff like that, but that's just the attention of the mind. What about the attention of the heart? And when you realize this, that you have this gut feeling, this intuition, that it's probably better to follow, it changes the game, because you realize like you can decide how you build your business. And that's the reason in the first place why you wanted to build a business, right? We want a business so we can play the game on our own terms. But most people fall into this trap, and me included, that when building a business, we think that we need to listen to the experts. We think that we need to do stuff in a way that other people have succeeded with. But what happens in that is that we lose ourselves. And there isn't anything worse than losing yourself for your business, because that means that your business takes control of your life and not the other way around, you controlling the business. How do you know if the business controls you? Well, that's pretty easy. You are in a negative state. You are in doubt. You are in fear. You have negative emotions and you're struggling. That means you're not flowing. You're not in alignment with your business and how it should be. Your heart knows how it should be, but when you get caught up in the mind, and especially if you're stressed, you get caught up in the mind and you start looping things, and you're like, wow, now I need to worry, now I need to think about this, now I need to deal with all these things. You have like 100 balls, you try to juggle them, and you see no results. What if the problem is that you're playing the game the wrong way? You can choose the game. This is the point with this video. I just want you to realize that you are allowed to listen to yourself, listen to your intuition, and play the game on your terms. Because every time you're playing the game on someone else's terms, you essentially give them a piece of your energy. But when you start to build your own masterpiece, that's when you get to keep the energy and you feel fulfilled. You feel a sense of accomplishment just by creating your own systems, building your own structures, and having it your own way. This is how you succeed in building your life that has a business in it. Not the other way around, that you build a business that you become a slave to. That's not what we want, right? So the biggest obstacles here are your shadows, the parts of yourself that you don't like or that you think that you need to remove, or something other that is bothering you. But what if I told you that the whole problem is self-development? The problem is that if you think that you need to develop yourself, it means that you're somehow flawed. What if we turn it around and we start with self-discovery instead. That changes the whole game, and you realize like, wow, you're not flawed. You don't need to feel guilty. You don't need to feel ashamed. You don't need to be afraid of who you are, because you understand that you already are the best version of yourself, and now you can just improve it. That comes from a place of completeness. There's nothing wrong with you. And that kind of releases the pressure of needing to constantly get better, needing to buy the next course, needing to do the next thing, needing to read the next book. You see what I mean here? When you realize and when you have compassion for yourself that you are already complete, there is nothing you need to fix, you step out of the game of being a victim. And that's when you start to actually walk your own path. You can start to listen to your heart, because there's nothing you need to improve. There's nothing to be guilty about. There's nothing that has a negative effect on you. And this is where you eventually step into courage. This is the borderline where you step out of victimhood, victim mentality. You are not the slave of some other dogma or system or ideology, and you become free. And that's what we want with our businesses, right? We want freedom. But you won't reach freedom if you think that freedom is something that is gonna be given to you when you reach a certain milestone in your business. Freedom comes from when you realize that you don't have to play these negative games anymore, and you can just set yourself free. You can make it less important to actually improve and be like, wow, I'm gonna go with the flow and I'm gonna see how much I can build myself up today, and then I'll do the same thing tomorrow without pressure, because pressure creates stress. If you don't have pressure on yourself or some external thing like external importance or internal importance, there's no need to stress. And it's amazing when you realize this, when you get these insights of like, wow, I can just play. I can go back to playing, to understanding that if I don't like this game or this play, I can just change it. I can just try something else and see if I like it. Like, this is so simple, but when you realize it, it's just like you get this feeling of lightness. And then when some kind of problem arises and you have an obstacle and you have to struggle or whatever, you realize that, wow, maybe this thing is here to teach me something. And that's when you enter the mindset of win or learn. And when you have that, you essentially win all the time, because either you get a really good lesson that is going to carry you even further, or you just get a win that you can celebrate. And this is how you create a good life. Because when you think win or learn, you develop a positive attitude. And when you have a positive attitude, there is nothing to be afraid of. And that's also where you free yourself. So you can do this exercise and ask yourself, where am I not free yet? And try to see if you can just lower the importance of that thing. And then most of the times, the problems and the pressure just dissolves. It just goes away by itself, because it was an illusion that you needed to somehow stress or struggle or make this really important. Can you see the whole system here? Life can be so much easier if you're just willing to let down the importance on external things or internal things, and you start to flow. And when you start flowing, then you can start looking around. Oh, maybe I want to paddle that way a little bit, or I paddle that way. And life becomes easy, because essentially you go with the flow, but you're controlling where you go in the flow. You're not trying to go against the flow, because that's just like struggling all the time. And you're not just giving up and letting the current take you wherever it goes. You just stay aware and you decide where you go. That's gonna be it for this video. I hope you got some golden nuggets out of this. My name is Mitz. I'll see you in a future video. Peace out.